I thought my fiancé and I had the perfect relationship. We were planning our dream wedding until little things started feeling wrong. We've been together for 4 solid years, the kind of relationship that actually feels effortless and real. We met on a group beach trip back in college. She was the one who could make the whole group crack up even when the waves were freezing and the sun was setting. I was the quieter guy who mostly hung back until she grabbed my hand and pulled me into a chaotic game of beach volleyball. That was it. From there, everything just clicked. Lazy Sundays became our thing, curled up on the couch with blankets, takeout, and hours of talking about nothing and everything. She'd surprise me with my favorite coffee when I had early shifts, leave silly handwritten notes in my lunch bag, and always knew exactly how to make me laugh after a rough day. I proposed last year on that same beach, down on one knee at golden hour, ring hidden inside a seashell I'd painted myself. She cried happy tears, said yes without hesitation, and we've been in full wedding planning mode ever since. 6 to 8 months ago, our life felt like a dream. We'd spend evenings scrolling through venue photos on my laptop, her head on my shoulder, eyes lighting up as we imagined saying our vows. She'd send me cute selfies during the day with captions like, "Thinking of you," or "Can't wait to see you tonight." We'd talk about our future house, kids' names, even what kind of dog we'd adopt. She was all in, affectionate, thoughtful, completely open. She'd leave her phone face up on the table, laugh at group chats together, show me funny snaps from her friends without a second thought. I never once felt the need to check anything. Trust was just there. But then, slowly, things started to shift. Nothing dramatic at first, just small changes that made me pause and wonder if I was imagining it. About 4 or 5 months ago, she began taking her phone with her everywhere, even to the bathroom for quick scrolls. When notifications came in, she'd get this soft, private smile, almost nostalgic, then quickly lock the screen if I walked by. Her Snap score, that little number showing how active you are on Snapchat, started climbing way higher than before, especially late at night when she'd say she was just winding down in bed next to me. One time, around 1 a.m., a notification lit up her screen. I glanced over casually and asked, "Who's up this late?" She swiped it away fast and said, "Just one of my cousin's dumb stories. Go back to sleep, babe." But there was this tiny edge in her voice I'd never heard before. I brushed it off at first. Maybe work stress? Wedding planning overload? I didn't want to turn into the paranoid boyfriend who overreacts to nothing. Then, last week happened. She left her phone charging in the kitchen while she showered. Snapchat was still open in the background. A notification popped from Alex's dog, her college ex, the one she always insisted was ancient history and fully blocked everywhere. The preview read, "Miss those late-night convos, lol," with a winky face. My stomach dropped. That night, while she slept, I opened the app, thankfully no passcode on Snapchat itself, and there it was, a whole second account with an innocent-sounding username like Sunny Vibes 92, tiny friends list, an 800-plus day streak with Alex. I screen recorded the entire chat history quietly, exported it all to a hidden folder on my phone, and closed everything like nothing happened. The next day, when another notification came through, I asked casually, "Hey, who's Alex still snapping you? Thought you blocked him years ago." Her face went pale for half a second, then she laughed it off. "Oh my God, babe, it's nothing. I have this second account for random group memes and stuff. Sometimes he pops in because of mutual friends, but it's literally just memes and old inside jokes, no big deal." I said, "Okay," and let it drop. But I've spent the days since going through those recordings in secret. It's not just memes. After discovering that second Snapchat account and saving all the chat history, I couldn't stop myself from diving in. I waited until she was out with friends one evening, poured myself a drink, and sat down at my desk with the recordings. What I found wasn't some innocent exchange of memes. It was months, 7 months to be exact, of an emotional affair that made my entire world tilt. The chat started innocently enough, at least, on the surface. Back in the early logs, it was mostly her reaching out first. "Hey, saw this meme and thought of you, lol," with a link to something dumb. But it escalated quick. Within weeks, they were reminiscing about their college days, late-night parties, inside jokes, the crazy times they had together. Then it got personal. Him, "You always knew how to make me smile on rough days." Her, "Ah, same here, miss those vibes sometimes." The real gut punches came in the flirty stuff. She'd send selfies, ones she never shared with me anymore, in outfits like a low-cut top or yoga pants, captioned, "Out for a run, what do you think?" He'd reply, "Damn, still killing it. Luckiest guy who gets to see that every day." Her, blushing emoji, "Stop, you're too sweet." There were late-night confessions too. Him admitting he never got over their breakup. Her saying, "We had something special, didn't we?" with heart emojis. No outright sexting or nudes that I could find, but the emotional intimacy was screaming. Talks about, "What if we gave it another shot?" Laughed off with JK, but followed by winky faces. And the streaks, daily snaps to keep that connection alive, even on days she told me she was too tired for us to talk much. As I scrolled deeper, the timeline hit me like a freight train. These chats lined up with moments in our relationship. The weekend I was away for work, she was sending him voice notes about feeling lonely. The night of our engagement party, she snapped him a pic of my ring with, "Life update, lol, what do you think?" His reply, "Looks good on you, but I always pictured something different." Her, "Ha, yeah, sometimes I wonder too." The realization crashed over me in waves. This wasn't a slip-up or harmless flirting. It was a deliberate, sustained betrayal. She'd built this secret world just for him, pouring energy into it while our connection faded. I felt sick, physically nauseous, like I'd been punched in the stomach. Betrayal mixed with rage. How could she smile at me every day, plan our wedding, sleep next to me while nurturing this? Then the self-doubt kicked in. Was I not enough? Had our perfect life been a lie from the start? I paced the apartment for hours, heart racing, tears coming unbidden. 4 years gone. The woman I loved, or thought I loved, had been splitting her heart in two. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The next evening after dinner, which I barely touched, I sat her down on the couch. "We need to talk about your Snapchat." Her eyes widened, but she tried to play it cool. "Babe, I told you, it's just—" I cut her off and pulled up the screenshots on my laptop. Laid it all out. The selfies, the miss you messages, the what if fantasies. "This isn't memes. This is an affair." She broke down immediately. Tears, denials, excuses. "It's not what it looks like. We were just catching up. I was bored, stressed with wedding stuff. It meant nothing." Then it shifted to anger. "You went through my phone? That's a huge violation of trust." I fired back, "A secret account for your ex isn't one?" We yelled, she sobbed, I stayed cold, numb really. She begged for forgiveness, swore she'd block him, delete the app, go to therapy. But the damage was done. Every word felt hollow. I told her it was over, handed back the ring, and asked her to pack a bag and stay with a friend that night. She left in tears, slamming the door, and then silence. The apartment felt empty, echoing. I sat on the floor staring at our photos on the wall, and the despair hit full force. Waves of grief for the future we planned, the trust I lost, the person I thought she was. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Friends checked in, but I felt hollow, questioning everything. Was it my fault for not noticing sooner? How do I even start over at 28? The pain was raw, like a part of me had been ripped out. But mixed in was a tiny spark of relief. At least I knew the truth before the wedding. Let me break down the gaslighting first, because it was insidious. Gaslighting isn't just lying, it's making the other person feel like they're crazy for seeing the truth. She started right after I showed her the screenshots. Instead of owning up, she'd say things like, "You're remembering it wrong. Those chats were from years ago, before we were even serious." But the timestamps proved otherwise. They were from our engagement period. When I'd point that out, she'd pivot. "You're exaggerating. It was just friendly banter. Everyone flirts a little with old friends. Why are you so insecure?" She'd cry and say, "I feel like you're attacking me over nothing. Maybe you need therapy for your trust issues." It made me pause. Had I overreacted? Was I the problem? Even though I had the evidence right there, her constant reframing chipped away at my confidence. I had the evidence right there. Her constant reframing chipped away at my confidence. Texts would come in waves. "Babe, come on, you're blowing this out of proportion. We can fix it if you just admit you invaded my privacy first." It was textbook. Deny, deflect, blame the victim. But she didn't keep it between us. That's where the attempts to ruin my life kicked in. She weaponized our social circle and her family, spinning a narrative that painted me as the unstable, controlling ex who snapped over harmless memes. It started subtly. Mutual friends would text me, "Hey, heard about the breakup. She said you went through her phone without reason. That's kind of messed up." I'd explain, but she'd already planted the seeds. One by one, invites dried up. Group hangouts, game nights, even a mutual friend's wedding where I was supposed to be a groomsman. She told them I was jealous and possessive, and suddenly I was the bad guy who couldn't handle her having friends. Her family was the deepest cut. As I mentioned, we'd built real bonds, dinners, holidays, inside jokes, but she turned them into her personal army. Her mom, who used to hug me like a son, called and said, "She told us everything. How could you accuse her of cheating over some old texts? You're breaking her heart and ours." I sent screenshots, but her response? "Those are taken out of context. She's devastated. You're being cruel." Her dad, my grilling buddy, left a voicemail. "Real men don't snoop and run. Fix this before you regret it." Her brother unfollowed me everywhere and posted vague stories about dodging toxic people. They even rallied extended family. Her aunt messaged me on Facebook, "Heard you're spreading lies about her. Shame on you." It felt like a coordinated attack. Family group chats, I got booted. Posts about forgiveness aimed at me. Passive-aggressive shares about narcissistic exes. It escalated beyond words. She tried to hit my professional life too. We had overlapping work friends. She's in marketing, I'm in tech, and rumors started circulating. "He hacked her accounts. Watch out, he's unhinged." One colleague pulled me aside. "Dude, she said you were stalking her online. Everything okay?" It didn't tank my job, but it made networking awkward, and I lost a freelance gig from a mutual contact who didn't want drama. Socially, she doxed me lightly, sharing our story anonymously on forums. I recognized details, painting herself as the victim of an abusive partner. Friends distanced themselves, saying, "We don't want to pick sides," but really they'd chosen hers. Isolation hit hard. Weekends alone, scrolling through blocked profiles, feeling like a pariah. The despair was crushing. I'd wake up panicking, replaying her words, "You're the one who ruined us." Therapy helped unpack it, recognizing the manipulation, but the damage lingered. She was trying to ruin me, not just emotionally, but socially and professionally, to ensure I couldn't move on while she played the martyr. After the confrontation, the breakup, and the brutal gaslighting that turned her entire family against me, I hit rock bottom. For weeks, I barely left the apartment. The silence was deafening. Photos of us still on the walls, her favorite mug still in the sink, reminders everywhere of a future that no longer existed. Her family's messages kept coming, accusations of being controlling, immature, overreacting. Her mom even sent a long email saying I'd broken their daughter's heart over nothing and that I'd regret it. I sent screenshots, but her response? Those are taken out of context. She's devastated. You're being cruel." I felt like the villain in a story I didn't write. But one morning, something snapped. I looked in the mirror and hated the hollow, broken version staring back. I decided then and there, this wasn't going to be the end of me. If she and her family wanted to paint me as the bad guy, fine. I'd prove them wrong by becoming the best version of myself, not for revenge, but for me. I started small. The gym became my sanctuary. Every morning at 6 a.m., I'd drag myself there and lift. At first, it was just to burn off the anger and the hurt, but as the weeks turned into months, I saw changes. Broader shoulders, defined arms, a stronger core. I wasn't just getting fit, I was rebuilding my confidence one rep at a time. I hired a personal trainer, learned proper form, and pushed my limits. 6 months in, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the guy who used to hide under baggy shirts. Next came money. During the relationship, I'd always played it safe, steady job, decent savings, but no real ambition to go big. The betrayal lit a fire. I started side hustling, learned digital marketing on YouTube, built a small online business selling custom fitness plans and supplements. It was slow at first, but I poured everything into it. Nights, weekends, every spare hour. Within a year, it exploded. Clients rolled in, revenue tripled, and I quit my 5-to-5 to go full-time. By year 2, I was making more in a month than I used to make in a year. I bought my own place, a sleek loft downtown with a home gym and a view that made me smile every morning. Dating came later. I wasn't ready at first. Trust was shattered, and I didn't want to rush into anything. But after focusing on myself for so long, I started meeting people naturally, through the gym, business events, friends of friends, and then I met her. Kind, funny, independent, with zero drama. She didn't play games, didn't hide her phone, didn't need secret accounts. Our first date turned into late-night talks that reminded me what real connection felt like. We moved in together a year later, and she's been my biggest cheerleader ever since. Her family? They still believe the twisted version she fed them. I stopped caring. I don't know them explanations or proof. I blocked them all and moved on. Occasionally, I hear through mutual friends that she's still single, still spinning the same story about how I ruined everything. It doesn't sting anymore. It just makes me grateful I got out when I did. A little over 2 years had passed since the breakup. I had built a life I was genuinely proud of, a chiseled physique from consistent gym work, a thriving online business that had grown into a 6-figure operation, a beautiful new apartment, and most importantly, a loving relationship with someone who treated me with the respect and honesty I deserved. My new girlfriend, Lena, was everything my ex never was. Open, secure, supportive. We laughed together, traveled together, and built something real without secrets or games. Then, out of nowhere, she reached out. It started with a long, emotional message on Instagram. She'd found my new account, despite the blocks. "Hey, I know you probably hate me and I don't blame you. I've spent the last 2 years thinking about everything I did. I was wrong, so wrong. The chats with Alex were emotional cheating, and I lied to everyone, including myself, to avoid facing it. I hurt you deeply, and I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me. I've been in therapy, I've cut him off completely, and I've spent a lot of time alone trying to become a better person. I'm not asking you to take me back right away, but I'd give anything for a chance to apologize in person and show you I've changed. You were always the one who truly loved me. Please, can we talk?" I stared at the message for days. Part of me felt a flicker of pity. She sounded broken, but the bigger part remembered every lie, every gaslight, every attempt to turn my world against me. I didn't respond. A few weeks later, she tried again, this time through a mutual friend who awkwardly asked if I'd be open to meeting her for coffee. I politely declined. Then came the flood of voice notes, emails, even a handwritten letter she mailed to my old address, forwarded by the post office. Pages of apologies, admissions of guilt, promises that she'd never hurt anyone like that again. She said she'd lost her job, her friends had distanced themselves after the truth slowly leaked out, and she was finally seeing how toxic she was. She'd begged for forgiveness, for closure, for one last chance to make it right. I still didn't reply. I had moved on. Forgiveness wasn't something I owed her anymore. Then the jealousy surfaced. It started when she saw photos of me and Lena on Instagram. Nothing provocative, just us at a beach vacation, laughing, holding hands. She began liking old posts of mine from years ago, then unliking them, then commenting vague things like, "Looks like you're doing well, heart," on photos where Lena was tagged. Mutual friends started relaying messages. "She saw you two together and broke down crying. She said she never thought you'd move on so fast." But it got darker. She began posting cryptic stories, photos of old mementos from our relationship, a shell from the proposal beach, a photo of us at Christmas with her family, with captions like, "Some things you only appreciate when they're gone." Then came the subtweets, when you realize the grass isn't greener, it's just fake. Friends told me she was ranting to anyone who'd listen about how I replaced her so quickly and how Lena was probably just a rebound. The irony was thick. The woman who had emotionally cheated on me, lied to me, gaslit me, and tried to ruin my reputation was now jealous that I had moved on and found happiness. She couldn't stand seeing me thrive without her. I never responded to any of it. I muted her, blocked her new accounts, and kept living. Lena and I got engaged last month, quietly, privately, surrounded by people who actually cared. When I told one of our mutual friends, the word got back to her. The last I heard was that she deleted all her social media and went radio silent. Sometimes I think about that old version of me, the one who was broken, doubting himself, grieving a future that never was. I'm grateful for the pain because it forced me to rebuild, stronger, healthier, and happier. She asked for forgiveness, but some things can't be undone. And honestly, watching her realize what she lost, while I gained everything, was the quietest, most satisfying closure I could have asked for. The end. Thanks for watching.